Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Govans Music Mondays. We're so glad you're spending your Monday night with us. My name is Maria Wong, and I'm a member of Govans Presbyterian Church. I am filling in tonight for Leah Gilmore, who unfortunately is unable to be with us, but hopefully next time she will be with us. I also work for the nonprofit arts organization Common Ground on the Hill, which is underwriting support for Govans Music Monday performers. We are recording tonight's program as part of our work as a Maryland Folklife Center of the Maryland State Arts Council. The video will be archived on the Common Ground on the Hill official YouTube channel, where you can find other Govans Music Monday programs and many other videos. While you're on YouTube, also check out the Govans Presbyterian Church YouTube channel, which includes recordings of sermons and the Govans Racial Justice Speaker Series. We hope you'll take a look. And now I would like to welcome our pastor of Govans Presbyterian Church, Tom Harris, and he is going to have a word. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Maria. How are you? Sorry, I'm just had a little bit of technical difficulty. I couldn't hear anything, so I logged back out and jumped back in. All right, welcome everybody. Is it my time to say welcome everybody?
Yes,
okay,
please.
Welcome everybody. I'm Tom Harris. I'm the pastor here at Govans Presbyterian Church, and thank you to Claudia for being here. We really appreciate you giving of your time. Just a word about Govans. We are an anti-racist LGBTQ affirming church in Baltimore City. And we have a growing ministry here in the city and online, as this call shows, that we have a lot of different programming that can be reached from all over the world if you'd like. We have church services at 9 a.m. and 11 on Sunday mornings, and we would love to have anybody come and join us. Leah Gilmore leads our 9 a.m. music with the band. And we're just really glad you're here, and I can't wait to hear Claudia play some songs and some music tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Now I am happy to introduce Claudia Schmidt. We have been fortunate to have Claudia perform for Govans Music Mondays before, and we always love to have her join us. She has been performing for almost 4 decades in clubs, theaters, festivals, TV, and radio. The San Francisco Bay Guardian says, Schmidt's shows are a lot like falling in love. You never know what's going to happen next. Chances are it's going to be wonderful. Every moment is burned into your memory, and you know you'll never be the same again. More succinctly, Garrison Keillor said, when Claudia sings a song, it stays sung. If you haven't heard Claudia before, you're going to find out that this is true. Her beautiful, warm voice and elegant accompaniment on dulcimer and guitar gain her fans wherever she performs. So please join me now in welcoming Claudia Schmidt.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. I have to get into my website and update my biography because 2023 is my 50th year of being a performer. So those of you who are listening tonight, I'm just calling the whole year Claude Fest. So you can begin celebrating and just continue. And so I'm just handing that over to you. And I'll get busy with the bio soon. So when Leah put out the PR and she said, we're so happy to have Claudia here kicking off Women's History Month. And I went, well, that sort of gives me a little challenge here. So I put together a little set tonight of songs about both women that have been a deep part of my life and women that I've read about and women that I would have liked to have known. And so we're celebrating women tonight for sure. So I'm going to begin with the grandmothers and a song I learned a long, long time ago when I was just a baby performer, a Bill Withers song. Grandma's hands clapped in church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hands play the tambourine so well. And Grandma's hands used to issue out a warning. She'd say, Claudia Jane, don't you run so fast. You might fall on a piece of glass. Might be snakes there in the grass. Grandma's hands hands, and it's grandma's hands. Soothe the local unwed mother. And grandma's hands used to ache sometimes and swell. And grandma's hands, ooh, they lift her face and tell her, she say, honey, grandma understands just how much you love that man. And put your life in Jesus' hands. And it's grandma's hands. He used to hand me a piece of candy. And grandma's hands pick me up each time I fall. And grandma's hands, ooh, they really come in handy. She said, daughter, don't you whip that child. What you gonna spank her for? She didn't drop no apple core, but I don't have my granny's hands no more. When I get to heaven, gonna look for grandma's hands. You can sing it with me. Grandma's hands, big hands. Grandma's reaching out. Oh, grandma's picking me up. And grandma's hands, they used to hand me a piece of candy. And grandma's hands pick me up each time I fall. And grandma's hands, ooh, they really come in handy. She say, Mary Jane, don't you whip that child. Now what you gonna spank her for? She didn't drop no apple core, but I don't have my granny's hands no more. When I get to heaven, gonna look for grandma's hands. Yeah. Actually, when I look down at my own hands these days, I'm kind of looking at grandma's hands, I think. So it is Women's History Month, and so I dug in a little bit, and why it's this month was because March 8th is International Women's Day, and why that is the case. There was a lot to choose from, but it goes back all the way to the early 1900s, turn of the century. Women have been trying to get equality and notice for their contribution to the human condition for a long, long time. There would be no history at all without women, right? So the Russian Revolution, the women were fighting for their freedom at that point. In Britain, the women were fighting for the vote. In our own country as well. And I'm going to continue here with a song that was written right around this time in late February of 2020. Right before the lockdown. I was sick with what I understand now is COVID, but they weren't talking about it yet. And I was literally in a fever dream and staying at a friend's house in Florida, and came out of bed listening to a train in the middle of the night. And it was almost like I had a visit from a ghost of a suffragist. And I just got up and started taking notes. And I started thinking about how strange it was that here we are in 2020, which was the 100th anniversary of women getting the vote, and we couldn't get together to celebrate because of COVID. And the same thing happened in the early 1900s with the pandemic, with the 1918 pandemic. So it was a strange kind of deja vu going on. So here's my song, my visit from a suffragist. It's called Women in White. I heard a train in the night. I saw those dresses of white. I knew the time was right to claim what's mine. Too long in chains of fear, there's no more need, my dear. We are so very near to the finish line. Oh, we were beaten in the streets. We were thrown in jail, mocked and abused, but to no avail. Because the women in white kept marching for the right to vote. Yeah, the women in white kept standing for the right to vote. Whoa, 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 whoa. We tried the middle way. We talked to those men every day, but we were sent away with a shake of their heads. What else could we have done? This was for everyone, our daughters and our sons, and long after we're dead. We were beaten in the streets, we were thrown in jail, mocked and abused, but to no avail. Because the women in white kept marching for the right right to vote. Yeah, the women in white kept standing for the right to vote. Women in white, women in white. 100 years ago, we won that fight. Women today, there's still no ERA. Can't you find a way to be the new women in white? Ooh, yeah, India. Ooh, that train is bound somewhere. Now it's you that must dare to journey all the way there with our precious gains. Please don't give up the fight to save our hard-won rights. But there are those who put us right back in chains. Ah, we were beaten in the streets. We were thrown in jail, mocked and abused, but to no avail. Because the women in white kept marching for the right to vote. Yeah, the women in white kept standing for the right to vote. Women in white, women in white. 100 years ago, we won that right. Women worldwide, I see a shifting tide. When we're standing side by side, the new women in white. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard a train in the night. I saw those women in white. Yeah, I hear a train in the night. I see those women in white. Women in white. So I was reading that the colors for International Women's Day are purple, green, and white. So I tried to approximate that as much as possible. And I had a lot of purple, which is for dignity and justice. Green is the color for hope. And I can't really see it so much in my vest, but I do have little spots of green because sometimes hope seems small, but it's still there. And the white symbolizes purity, which is still a contentious issue for us women out in the world. Expectations, you know. And then I found out that in America, in 1978, a group of women in Sonoma declared Women's Week around March 8th. And then guess who in 1980 made a presidential decree that it would be Women's Week? None other than Jimmy Carter. And then finally, 8 years later, Congress passed into existence for perpetuity that the month of March would be Women's History Month. And but we share the month with other things. And this brings me to my next song. It was inspired by a photograph I saw years ago at the Ladies Literary Club in Grand Rapids, a wonderful, beautiful old venue that I got to do concerts at a few times. And in the back room, the green room, were all these photographs of past members of the Ladies Literary Club. And I was back there before my concert and looking at all the photos and not too impressed, because under every photo it said, you know, Mrs. Guy, Mrs. Dude, you get the idea. So here were these women and with these men's names. And then I came across one photo, this beautiful photo, very mysterious looking. And underneath the photo, it said, Miss Eulalia Thomas. And I was smitten. I just stood there in front of that photograph, and they called me out to do my concert, and I drove off down the road, and I thought that was the end of it. But it turns out Eulalia had sort of hitched a ride with me and kept me company until I finally wrote this song. She inspired me so much. Miss Eulalia Thomas, your face upon this wall, gazing outward upon us, you beckon and enthrall. How did you fit? How fitted style all your own. All your literary sisters cast away their names, only known as Mrs., Mr., Walter, Frank, and James. You stand alone, intact and unedited, Eulalia. You spark in me the part that's free and alone, all alone. Were you wealthy? Were you hardy, stealthy, beautiful without a doubt? All the others smile straight on. You come at me carefully, dreams in your eyes, never quite caught, your chin so strong. Literary ladies all, you led them for a time. Were there lovers, children, critics, husbands in your prime? How did you miss becoming a Mrs. Eulalia? You let me know I'm free to grow as I will, and I will. Miss Eulalia Thomas, your face upon this wall. Miss Eulalia Thomas, you're smiling for us all. Thank you. I was going to point out that while in Grand Rapids, there's a commercial food service there called Gordon Food Service, which is kind of like a regional version of Cisco. And driving through Grand Rapids one time, there was a big billboard that said, March is also National Frozen Food Month. So you still have time to get your cards out. I didn't see any billboards about Women's History Month, but we really should address that, maybe more billboards. What do you say? Well, several years ago, I got to write some songs for a musical about Amelia Earhart. A woman who was writing this play contacted me to do the lyrics and music. And I started digging into the life of Amelia and talk about being smitten, because Laurie went much more deeply than just what we tended to know about her fame and the crash and the mystery, another mysterious woman. But she really dug into how Amelia the girl became Amelia the woman, you know, how she became inspired, how she decided to walk this really difficult and ultimately fatal path, believing so much in the future of aviation. She was so serious about what she did at a time when a lot of people still thought of the whole thing as a boondoggle, especially a woman doing it. You know, my own mother, who would have been about, 10, 11 years old when this was happening, what she remembered was that Amelia wore trousers, and that was so just racy for its day, just that in itself. And that's just the way she rolled. So the song I'm going to play for you was the song that really was kind of like her aria, I guess. And it's the thing when reporters would come up to her and say, what are you doing, this woman, flying an airplane, who do you think you are, kind of thing. This is what I imagined she was always very gracious and patient with photographers and journalists and all the fame that she really wanted no part of. She just wanted to do the work. So here's Amelia's song. Everyone thinks when the eagle flies, it savors the freedom of flight. But maybe we anthropomorphize just because it's a beautiful sight. When a fledgling falls or is pushed from its nest, is it instinct alone that prevails? Then who can explain the way we're possessed to go up, up, up with the wind at our tails? But there's one thing as clear as the sky on a day that was clearly meant to fly on. Each time I leave the ground, it feels brand new. Each time I touch back down, I'm thrilled clear through. Well, even walking's an extra kick when you've recently sailed the sky. Oh, and I can't wait to fly. We like to think wherever we are is the place we must surely belong, chasing ourselves to the next perfect spot just to find we brought trouble along. Well, that stowaway trouble won't make a peep till we're damn sure we left it behind. Then it prickles our skin while we toss in our sleep till we wake with a restless heart and mind. There's one place where a mighty calm is as certain to soothe as old Gilead's balm is. Each time I leave the ground, it feels brand new. Each time I touch back down, I'm thrilled clear through. Even walking's an extra kick when you've recently sailed the sky. Oh, and I can't wait to fly. A little journey of my imagination into the mind and the heart of Amelia Earhart. Unfortunately, Laurie, the playwright, died of breast cancer a few years ago, and the whole play kind of went by the wayside. But I got a few good songs out of it, and I certainly developed a deeper respect for the life that she lived. The kind of, when she wasn't flying around setting all these new records, she was driving around lecturing to raise money for the next flying adventure, but she would be speaking on feminism and pacifism. She was an amazing woman for any time, much less that time. So bravo, Amelia Earhart. So I happen to be driving from Connecticut, right here where I live, to Fargo, North Dakota, on the first couple of days when the Me Too movement broke open. And so I was hearing story after story on the radio, the revelations of women coming forward, and the comments of other women and also men. And it seemed like there was a moment where people were ready to step up and talk about this in a whole new way. And I felt really hopeful, and because it seemed like a healing crisis, everything on the surface. So let's really look at it and change what's been going on for way too long. And of course, we know we've experienced a brutal backlash from it all that's rippled out into many other aspects of the culture as well. But at that moment, I wrote this song in a very elevated state. And I still feel that way. Go back to the early suffragists I was mentioning earlier. There was a woman named Daisy Elizabeth Adams Lambkin. who was she was born in 1918, and she was standing with the women in white when the vote passed in 1920. She fought for that, and she was still alive in 1965 when the Voting Rights Act got passed. She was still alive, and her whole life she'd spent doing social justice advocacy. But in her younger days, she said these words, which I just am so inspired by. She said, "You cannot remain neutral. You must either join with us who believe in the bright future or be destroyed by those who would return us to a dark past." Now, out there in Zoom land, you can actually join me on this. I've had people say sometimes, "I love Zoom concerts because I'd be too shy to sing at one of your live concerts, but when I'm on Zoom at home, I just can sing my head off." So I hope that's what you're gonna do. You just echo after me in each verse, in each line in the verse. It goes, "Took a long, long time, took a long, long time to get a beat on the meanness. It took a long, long time, took a long, long to turn the gray into black. It took a long, long time, took a long, long to put a voice to the anger. It took a long, long time, and now there's no turning back. It was a long, long road, it was a long to walk behind and be silent. It was a long, long road to carry all that pain. It was a long, long road, but now that journey is ending. It was a long, long road we'll never travel again. No, never again. It takes a long, long time to turn the shame into power. It takes a long, long time for every voice to be heard. It takes a long, long time to break a system of violence. Oh, it takes a long, long time to put it all into words. So I was just trying to put it into words. Ooh, takes a long, long view. It takes a long, long to build a bridge for our daughters. It takes a long, long view to give a choice to our sons. Yes, it takes a long, long view. It takes to not forget what the price was. It takes a long, long view to know the work's never done. No, it never, never done. It took a long, long time to raise our voices together. It took a long, long time, but now we walk hand in hand. It took a long, long time to break this terrible silence. Oh, it took a long, long time to come to understand. We're all just trying to understand. It took a long, long time. It was a long, long road. It takes a long, long time. It takes a long, long view. Oh, it took a long, long time. It was a long, long road. It takes a long, long time. It takes a long, long view. It took a long, long time. Oh, it was a long, long road. It takes a long, long time. It takes a long, long, long view, but together I believe we will see our way through. Long, long time. And it's not over yet. Well, January, this past January was the 10th anniversary of my mother's death, and I could not do a program about women without mentioning my mother, because she was She was such a dear friend to me and such a wonderful supporter of my creativity. I would not be doing what I'm doing today if it hadn't been for the kind of love and support I got from her every step of the way. And it didn't matter. I would call her from the road. You know, it was back before cell phones, when you maybe talk to somebody once a week. You know, that was just the way it was. And she'd say, "How's it going?" And I'd say, "Oh, great." And she'd say, "What's wrong?" She could just see right through me. You know, she was with me every step of the way. And so it was a big loss when she died. But at the same time, I felt her around me. After, well, I mentioned it in this song, the day after she died, I got a message from a friend who said, "First you're here, then you're everywhere." And I said, "What? Who said that? Was that like Rumi or Tagore? What mystic came up with that?" And she said, "My 8-year-old daughter." So that had to work its way into this song, because I was thinking down the road a bit how we try to hold on to the ones we lose, and because we're humans, we tend to do that with things. You know, that's just the way we work. And I had originally thought maybe this was going to be a poem. I knew it was going to be something along those lines, and I think maybe with my mom's help, as it evolved, it turned into this song called "Wearing Jane." It's coming on 10 years ago since we lay my mother down to take her deep and final rest 'neath the Beaver Island ground. We cried a little, laughed a lot at the wonder of her life, so fully lived as mother, daughter, artist, friend, and wife. Oh, it started with a shirt I found and slipped on straight away. I wrapped it close around me as I watched her slip away. I wore it all that night as well. I could not bear to change. I felt that I still held her near, though my world had rearranged. Then a little ring, a pair of shoes, a sweater to be brief. I held them close around me, they soothed like the razor edge of grief. Oh, her silver heart around my neck, her lovely scarves to friends. A year went by, then more, and I began to comprehend. I wear her when I smile or laugh. Oh, I hear her loud and clear. When I talk to birds or trees or friends, I sense her spirit near. The daughter of a friend once said, "First you're here, then you're everywhere." Such words so wise from one so young still lift me like a prayer. And now I cherish every day just the way my mother might. And I still wear these things I kept, but I keep my spirit light. The lakes and the trees and the chickadees, true friends in love remain. As long as we can share these gifts, we all are wearing Jane. Just sing that line with me. As long as we can share these gifts, we all are wearing Jane. For my mom. I just have to grab a glass of water here for a moment. There it is. I forgot to put it within reach when we started out here. So my mother was a feminist. She might not have called herself that, but she certainly was in the way she thought and the way she empowered me, for sure. So much so that I wrote this song. This is like reaching into the way back in the 80s, in my early super duper angry feminist phase, which is not to say I'm not a fired up feminist this very moment, which is true, but it's just, as time goes by, as the years go by, you sort of choose your battles. Things change a little bit, like if you're going to impress me with your vehicle now, it better be a food truck, that kind of thing. Your priorities shift. So here's a song that came out during that time. It's just a fun one to do. You'll see what I mean about being a little dated about priorities and time and experience. And it's got, at the end of each verse, I'll sing a line and I'm going to wait for you to repeat it before I go on to the next verse. So I hope you do it, or otherwise I'll be sitting here waiting for a long time. So I'm going to be watching your mouths move anyway. Well, it's not just anybody who can call me something sweet. For most, a cozy nickname is rude and indiscreet. So when some hulking lunkhead throws diminutives my way, my jaws get kind of rigid, I got nasty things to say. But when they come from your lips, those same names sound sublime. You can call me baby anytime. That's the line, take it. Well, snarled the little lady, proud and sweetie pie. Snarled that little lady, fights a chick, it's not a lie. Well, there's folks who think your knees get weak from oral saccharin. The more they drip, the more you flip, the more they're sure to win. Well, I just don't go for all that goo. It might as well be slime, but you can call me baby anytime. Take it. Now take all those wooden puddings flung upon my weary ear. I tell you where to put them just as quick as they appear. Somebody do it well, take all those whoopsie poopsies flung upon my weary ear. I tell you where to put these if it's not already clear. Well, now some might call me honey, and I just let it go. They call most everybody, that is how they say hello. Others think that sweet words might disguise their sleazy play. However, I have got a charm alarm that blows him right away. Now someone else might gush, I just treat it like a crime. But you can call me baby anytime. It's your turn. Now you can scat with me. Zimbabwe don't bump boy. Split down boking down. Split that and do it down on boom doom doo. Boom boom doo doo. When I didn't then sit what bam dip dying get bum 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 bum. Yeah, you can start your talk and watch my temperature climb. You can call me baby. You can call me baby. You can call me sweetheart. You can call me baby anytime. I'm picking up the Appalachian Mountain Dulcimer now, which whose existence and recognition, I should say, and acceptance in our country has a lot to do with a remarkable woman in her time. Jean Ritchie grew up in the Appalachian Mountains, and collecting her family collected many of the old traditional songs. So she grew up in that culture, but she grew with it as well, and she began writing songs and bringing the dulcimer to the attention of a lot of people who, for a while, we didn't even know about. Joni Mitchell used the dulcimer a lot in her earlier recordings, and there was a man named Richard Mimi Farina. A lot of their music revolved around the percussive sound of the dulcimer, and it's an instrument I stumbled on early in my when I was a baby performer. I saw it hanging on a music store wall, and I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know anything about Jean Ritchie then. I just I took it off the wall. I liked the shape of it, and I started to noodle around with it. And here I am, all these umpty-ump years later. It's become as much a part of my voice as the guitar and my actual voice. So a few years ago, another dear friend named Bliss Brown founded an organization called Ubu Mama. Ubu Mama. It's a Zulu word that means motherhood in the overarching great and grand sense. And it was an organization to help stop maternal death in isolated villages in South Africa. And so she engaged me in some fundraising events, mostly based in Chicago, where she lived at the time. And in the midst of all that, she asked if I might write a song about Ubu Mama for Ubu Mama. It seemed like a daunting proposition, but the muse favored me and brought me a song that I then brought to Ubu Mama. And the thing about it is that it started out as an organization to help women in isolated villages in South Africa, but as recently as a week ago, I was reading an article about how America is #1 on the list of developed countries with high maternal death rates. So it's like bringing the song right back home here, right now. Ubu Mama. Out of the dark waters of the mother sea, we all have journeyed into this world of pain against all logic. Life comes churning. She who must carry us, bear us in time, must be cherished. She who is vessel and ocean alike must know there are hands to catch her, tossed by the storm of birth. We will transform the earth. Out of the dark waters of the mother sea, we all have journeyed into this world of pain against all logic. Life comes churning. She who must fall to the rhythm and the call of our coming, our coming. She dances with hope and with death in the same breath. She honors the ancestors' courage as we must honor now our part in this ancient vow. Out of the dark waters of the mother sea, we all have journeyed into this world of pain against all logic. Life comes churning. We must take care the mother, oh, the mother. We must take care of each other. Boo-boo mama. Thank you. A few years ago, that movie Hidden Figures came out, and it really got people talking about kind of what I mentioned earlier. So many women went unrecognized because they married and they lost their names. I heard somebody talking about genealogy, how hard it is. You can try to trace somebody back, and once they aren't Mrs. Guy anymore, it's hard to find information about them. So anyway, that wonderful story came out, and now I've been seeing lots of posts finally bringing these women who did amazing things in the arts and science and math to light. We're finally learning who they were. Way too late, but we're still learning. Which brings me to this next song, because this song is about a woman who should be at least as famous as Cleopatra, but she's not. In fact, she's barely known at all. She was born somewhere in mid to late 300s AD. Nobody knows for sure. She died for sure in 415 AD because she was stoned to death on that day by an angry mob at that time. And I'm talking about Hypatia of Alexandria, who was a brilliant mathematician, astronomer, philosopher. She taught at the Library of Alexandria, and yet hardly anything is known about her. And I had the good fortune to get to read a novel called Flow Down Like Silver by a woman named Kai Longfellow a few years ago, who was so enchanted with the idea that this woman had lived at this time that she fleshed her out in a beautiful way in this book. And you know, a lot of it's made up, otherwise it would have been a really short book. But it got me so excited about Hypatia that I ran with it and wrote this song I want to play for you now. What happened is a bishop came into power in Alexandria and saw this woman was looking from his parapet down on a woman with lots of people listening to what she was saying and being very interested in it, and decided that she must be a witch. And that was the reason he got the mob together to get rid of her. If you Google her now, you can hardly find anything, just in general. She died on 415 AD. She lived around that time, lived in Alexandria, and she was a virgin. That seems to be an important point that people like to make, which I think might have been one of the reasons that Kai Longfellow wanted to flesh her out a little bit in the novel. So here's my take on Hypatia of Alexandria. And it's got a part for you in it, which I will indicate as soon as we get there. Oh, wait a minute, I have to retune, I just remembered. I thought that sounded strange. The dulcimer is an instrument. It's kind of like a banjo. You play it in a specific tuning, and I almost played it in the wrong tuning. There once was a gal named Hypatia. She'd beat you in spades if she raced ya. She'd philosophize you to mere smithereens, but not in a way that disgraced ya. Hypatia, that's your part. Hypatia. Hypatia was smarter than you are. In math and in science, a rock star. No women nor men who ever had been could exceed her in all knowledge thus far. Here we go. Hypatia. Alexandria was in survival, smuggling books from the flames of revival. They hid a whole library hoping to glean a culture none other could rival. Hypatia. Soon the Christians denounced her as pagan, just an uppity woman to rag on. But so many citizens thought she was keen, the powers that be had to wag on. Hypatia. So they whispered that she was too damn proud. Then they poisoned her pals in the royal crowd. They cornered her cruelly and staged a mob scene with pottery shards and a voice loud, Hypatia! Well, they killed her for no earthly reason, except some vile priest found it pleasing. A sentiment that to this day is often seen on women is still open season. Hypatia! So here's to all the gals like Hypatia. It's high time that we truly embrace ya. No longer forgotten or killed for your genes. We must stop them before they debase ya. Hypatia! Oh, beautiful, brilliant Hypatia. Some guys came along and replaced ya. You're too soon forgotten, your slate was wiped clean. The his in a history erased ya. Hypatia! So now we must sing of her splendor to women and girls, though still tender. For with knowledge we triumph and thwart the obscene, and so in this way we befriend her. Hypatia! Don't forget to remember Hypatia. 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 Check it out. Check her out. There's a lovely children's book that's come out about her now too, called, I think it's called Of Stars and Numbers. So that made me really happy to hear that young people are finding out about somebody as amazing as Hypatia of Alexandria. A guy named Neil Hagberg wrote this next song that I got to hear a few years ago, and my friend Sally Rogers and I grabbed onto it and ended up recording it. It's a powerful song, and I think he wrote it probably at the time he had a daughter that was just going into adolescence, young womanhood, and it made me very happy that a man wrote this song. And I have many young women in my mind as I sing it tonight. I'm thinking of Mahsa Amini, the young Iranian woman that died not so long ago in the protests in Iran. And so I sing it especially for her tonight. Star Girls. It's got a chorus in it too. I hope you sing with me. All of the girls who knew they'd never be known, all of the girls who did not know their names, all of the girls denied their share of the gold, all of the girls like cattle bought and sold, all of the girls who had to submit to a man, all of the girls the boys could not understand, all of the girls whose place at the table was barred, all of the girls who numbered more than stars. This is for you. I see you shine, sparkling like jewels in the night. Wherever I go, whatever I do, the stardust in me is from you. All of the girls who could not tear the veil, all of the girls who tried and tried but failed, all of the girls who did not have their say, and the holy writers took their words away. This is for you. I see you shine, sparkling like jewels in the night. Wherever I go, whatever I do, the stardust in me is from you. All children up well. All of the girls who rose and rose but fell. All of the girls who worked for the coming new day. All of the girls who knew the price they'd pay. And all of the girls who somehow kept the faith that all of their girls would live a much better day. Well, you are the stars without words. Oh, I believe that someday your voice will be heard. This is for you. I see you shine, sparkling like jewels in the night. Wherever I go, whatever I do, the stardust in me is from you. The stardust in me is from you. Stargirls by Neil Hagberg. So this past November, another woman who graced my life for the last 15 years died. And I got to meet her when I went to South Africa for the first time. And I know that one of the people watching tonight also got to meet Bon in her amazing life. And I got to stay with her for the 3 weeks I was in South Africa. And not only was she brilliant and funny, she was humble and connected to the land in a way that I don't think I'd ever experienced in such a personal way. She had taken her little backyard in the place where she'd lived for decades and completely what can I say, and meshed herself in it. She planted native plants, she raised little land tortoises, she composted, she just knew. It was like knowing every single thing in her backyard, and you got a sense that it was a way of knowing the world because that's how Bon lived. And I was so inspired by her that the night before coming back to America, I wrote this song for her. And she was, of course, Bon being Bon, was like, what? She was completely flabbergasted that someone would take the time and the trouble to write a song for the likes of her. And so I'm singing it in her memory tonight, and it's got a great call and answer chorus in it. And if you want to make somebody feel really good, write a little song about them, write a little ditty. It doesn't even have to rhyme, or, this is just some reportage about some things going on in her backyard, and hence the name of the song, which is Bon's Bonnie Backyard. I'm on this whole pilgrimage to have more praising in the world. We do a lot of criticizing, and we do a lot of arguing, and we do a lot of yelling, but we don't do enough praising. And so that's one of my missions in life, is to do more of that. So Bon's Bonnie Backyard. African robin sings up the sun. Sunbird picks up the tune and runs. Hardy down laugh like drunkards. Here come three whistling ducks, one by one. Now here we go. Corn for the birdies, you sing. Corn for the birdies. Crumbs for the wormies, and you sing crumbs for the wormies. Greens for the torties. Coffee for the peoplies. So goes the morning, Bon's Bonnie Backyard. Oh, chase a few squirrels, shoo that cat. Bicky's on the porch, such a lively chat. Pull a few weeds, bring in the dry laundry. Eat a few nasturtiums, oh, you can't beat that. Here we go. Corn for the birdies, crumbs for the wormies, greens for the torties. Peoples. So goes the day in Bond's bonny backyard. African robin sings up the moon. Southern Cross will come along soon. How bay lights are winking good night. Here's one more chance to sing this tune. Corn for the birdies, crumbs for the wormies, greens for the torties, wine for the peoples. So goes the night in Bond's bonny backyard. Oh, one more time, and it's corn for the birdies, crumbs for the wormies, greens for the torties, water for the peoples. So goes the world in Bond's bonny backyard. Bond's bonny backyard. Well, since I'm a woman, I thought maybe I'd do a song that speaks to my view of my own life. As I mentioned earlier, I'm in my 50th year of performing and writing and living this life of a touring musician, and and it's kind of astounding. And I've worked hard. I've worked hard to get here and be here, and I've loved it. And it's ripped me apart sometimes, and it's put me back together. And I wouldn't have chosen to do anything else in my life but this. So, and on top of that, on top of being my 50th year, in June I turned 70. So it's like these nice round numbers I'm dealing with. And that's what I'm feeling like. Life as a circle these days. And the song I'm going to play for you is a song that I wrote on the eve of my 60th birthday, when I was just sort of looking at the big, again, the round view. You know, I get a little annoyed when people have a totally linear approach to life. And it's like somebody says, oh my God, I've got to do this. And the bucket list thing is kind of one of those. I guess it's a manifestation of that. It's as if your life was a ruler, you know, and you're looking at it and you realize, oh my God, I've only got 1.5 inches more to live. I just can't live like that. So this song kind of speaks to that. And around that time, I also found a beautiful poem. Somebody shared with me. It was written by Jane Relaford Brown, and I'm gonna share that with you before I do this song. It's called "Finding Her Here." I am becoming the woman I've wanted, graying at the temples, soft-bodied, delighted, cracked up by life, with a laugh that's known bitter, but past it got better. Who knows she's a survivor, knows that whatever comes, she will get past it. I am becoming a deep and weathered basket. I am becoming the woman I've longed for, the motherly lover with arms strong and tender, the growing up daughter who blushes surprises. I am becoming full moons and sunrises. I find her becoming this woman I've wanted, who knows she's sufficient, who knows she'll encompass, knows where she's going and travels with passion, who remembers she's precious, yet not at all scarce, who knows she is plenty, plenty to share. Ooh, these tears fall more easily than they ever did before. And often unexpected things I don't question anymore. Babies laughing, sweethearts kissing, a drifter's lonely face. Countless moments that sow the seeds of gratitude and grace. These tears are the evidence of happiness. You can sing that line with me. These tears are the evidence of happiness. Happiness. These lines seem to be fighting for a spot upon my face. Each year before the mirror, more and more a map of place. They look just like the trip itself, twists and turns and straightaways. They show up mostly when I smile, and I smile a lot these days. These lines are the evidence of happiness. Oh, these lines are the evidence of happiness. Happiness. In the court of love, there's no judge and no jury. A lifetime of losses can't be counted in a hurry. In the court of love, there's only me, you see, and the evidence, so much evidence. This heart has been broken like the moon upon the sea, by lover and by culture, by my own inconstancy. But this heart has sung its way to joy and healed 1,000 times. So strong and ever tender, full of melody and rhymes. This heart is the evidence of happiness. This heart is the evidence of happiness. Happiness. This life has not found its worth on the stairway to success, reveling more in alleyways and scenic routes, I guess. The journey is spectacular and the company is the best, and I will travel fearlessly till I'm happily at rest. This life is the evidence of happiness. Come on, sing it now. This life is the evidence of happiness. This heart is the evidence of happiness. These lines are the evidence. These tears are the evidence of happiness. The evidence of happiness. Yeah. Evidence. Well, I think I'll round out this concert with another grandmother song, because I would be remiss, first of all, not to mention one of my dearest, longest friends, Sally Rogers, with whom I have sung for over 40 years, and been friends through all that. And this was the first song that I ever sang with her. In fact, I learned the song from a mutual friend before I even knew Sally, and I'd been singing it around. She hadn't really gone on tour yet. And then she started going on tour, and she wasn't even going to ever sing the song because she wrote it for her grandmother's birthday. And she thought, oh, it's such a personal song. Nobody would ever want to hear this song. But then she went on tour and she needed songs. So she started singing the song, and she would start to teach people the chorus. And of course, they already knew it because of me, because I'd been there already. So we were linked from the beginning in a pretty deep way. So I want to thank you all for being here with me this evening. On the eve of the full moon, the worm moon it's called, also the crow moon. Tomorrow is the 58th anniversary of the March from Selma. Wednesday is International Women's Day. lot to think about, a lot to chew on, and a lot to be grateful for, and a lot to love and live on for. So this, of course, has a wonderful chorus in it, and I'll leave you with it. Oh, Agnes, won't you go with me? We'll be married in style, and we'll cross Lake Michigan, so blue and so wild. We'll cross over Lake Michigan till we come to the shore, and our orchards will blossom for our babies as they're born. Oh, yes, I will go with you, leave Wisconsin behind, though my parents think little of my life on the farm. Oh, to leave the gay city life, to be buried on the farm. But I'll watch the orchards bloom in spring, spend the winters warm in your arms. Sing it. Oh, Agnes, won't you go with me? We'll be married in style, and we'll cross Lake Michigan, so blue and so wild. We'll cross over Lake Michigan till we come to the shore, and our orchards will blossom for our babies as they're born. 3 children he gave her, Curtis, Addie, and Dee, and their 4th child, little Gussie, came 10 years after these. And she raised them with a loving hand and with firmness of mind. She raised him through troubled times, Agnes strong-willed and kind. Oh, Agnes, won't you go with me? We'll be married in style, and we'll cross Lake Michigan, so blue and so wild. We'll cross over Lake Michigan till we come to the shore, and our orchards will blossom for our babies as they're born. Now 80 years have gone and passed, like the fruit on the trees, and her children have children with babes on their knees. And they all join in the summertime on the Crystal Lake shore to greet lovely Agnes, now 12 years and 80. Oh, Agnes, won't you go with me? We'll be married in style, and we'll cross Lake Michigan, so blue and so wild. We'll cross over Lake Michigan till we come to the shore, and our orchards will blossom for our babies as they're born. Thanks so much. Thanks to Govans, Music Mondays. It's been so nice to be back here with you all. Blessings and take care.